Hello, friends and fans. This is James. I'm with Nick, and I'm with Marco, and we're going to talk about the newest coach of the Montreal Canadiens, Martin St. Louis. Yes, everybody, it is leg day. Okay, hopefully everyone's ready. Behind the bench for the first time tonight, Martin St. Louis, his maiden voyage. His surprise hire last night. Already getting into the game readiness right now, right after his press conference. But we're going to talk about everything that was just mentioned at the press conference, all the big questions that were answered. Nick, Marco, thanks for joining me on this another historic day in the history of the Montreal Canadiens. How you doing?
Fantastic. If you did not like that press conference, I have an axe to grind with you.
Oh yeah,
basically.
no, it was such a just transparent, clear press conference. I think it was something that all Habs fans can enjoy, and just to see Martin back in relevancy is just so good for me to see growing and watching up. It's real nostalgic for me, and for him to be the coach of my favorite team now, it really hits home. So yeah, everything, so many things to love about the press conference. We're getting into the nitty gritty of it for sure.
Yeah, let's get in the nitty gritty. If you're watching today, don't forget to subscribe. If you're not already to Habs Tonight, you can tell we've been all over the coverage of the recent events, the games, the pre, the post games, all the big stories. Hopefully you can join us in the comments as well. Let us know what you thought of the conference, what you didn't like or what you did like, and we'll get into it. So there were some big questions going into today's conference. The number one for me, and I think for a lot of people was, and don't take this the wrong way, but can Martin St. Louis actually coach? He has no professional experience. I was hearing that he was coaching a U13 team last time. So how do we answer this question? That image right there at work. I'm a U8 coach myself, so I feel like I'm just a couple years away. But did he answer that question for you, team? Did he convince you that he can coach? He's ready to coach. I have a good analog in the form of Steve Nash in the NBA, who had no prior coaching experience, but obviously a huge amount of intelligence, knew the game inside and out. Did you guys have a similar takeaway from this, that he can do this even though he hasn't done it before?
100%. You could tell that he said it himself. He's like, I have no experience. I've never been behind the bench, but I've been in front of a bench and on the ice. So he's got the experience that the players need to basically move forward. So I'm really happy with everything that he said, and the fact that he even said, I know that I'm not here for a long period of time, but the goal is to be here for a long time. Give me a shot, let me see what I can do, and give me time. We're not going to see a change tonight. It's going to be a period of time before he gets to know the guys, and you give him time. Just give him time. That's my main focus.
Yeah, for sure. I think that the whole kind of benefit with having St. Louis here, even though he doesn't really have the coaching experience, he was a hell of a player. He's got a hell of a resume as a player. And often we see the best players translate to being very good coaches because they know the game better than anybody. And not only that, because there's a lot of former players who play, but when you've played at the level that he's played at and you've won the amount of things that he's won, you understand what a winning culture is like. And this is something that Kent Hughes said that he wanted to establish. He wanted to get a coach who was a winner, someone who was passionate, someone with a good hockey IQ. And I mean, St. Louis checks all the box off that. So I think having someone like him behind the bench, like you said, Nick, he's been someone who's been on the bench, on the ice, and in the locker room. And that's something too, because team chemistry has been a big issue this season. And he really addressed the importance of that too in this press conference. The need essentially for team, everyone to be connected mentally and on the ice and to kind of let players do their thing. So I definitely believe that he could coach, and he's just looking for experience. This has been a dream of his for at least 10 years. He said he's been wanting to coach in NHL, and now he gets to do it for the Habs, which is huge.
Yeah, that's right.
Ready.
Yeah. Well, and look, I mean, let's be realistic here. I'm a father of 2 children. I'm a few years younger than Martin St. Louis, but there is a demand of coaching that does not work well with a family life. And he's got several children. I think he's got 3. I might have misheard that. He himself comes from a big family. You don't jump into the throes of coaching unless you feel comfortable with losing time with your family. And I think he got his children to a certain point where he then was at the right point in his life, basically to say, hey, I can now do this. And let's not forget the terms of engagement here. This is a flyer. They are dating. This is not a multi-year commitment. There's already a lot of coaching contracts on the book. It was a good fit based on prior existing relationships. Okay.
Yeah.
We know that Gordon knows Martin St. Louis from his playing days in New York. And we know Kent Hughes knows everybody in the industry, but obviously worked to oppose him against him with his clients and stuff. I mean, there's familiarity there. I think everyone's on the same page. This is not a relationship that's going to get too sentimental too soon, like things might have in the Bergevin era. This is about business. It's about proving everyone wrong. And that's what Martin St. Louis has done his entire career. And here's another chance for him to prove everybody wrong. What do you guys think about just how this came about? So I mentioned the prior existing relationships. Obviously, there was a piece that was moved to allow this to happen. Was Dominic Ducharme exited the organization yesterday. How did you feel that explanation was presented by Gordon and by Kent Hughes?
I feel it was direct, to the point. It wasn't disrespectful or anything. He flat out said, we could have given Dom a more competitive team. They admitted to the fact that, things didn't work out, but let's keep in mind too, these two guys came into the game November and last month. So the timetable to really adjust was a little bit too late. If Bergevin would have been fired at the beginning of the year and you brought these guys in right away, could have been different. So the explanation he gave that, we knew things weren't going well. We tried to give him an additional couple of games to see how it was going to go. And then after that 7-1 loss, we just knew, it's not going to change. He had his shot. He had the difficulties of dealing with COVID injuries. Let's not forget that, because that was a huge aspect of this year. So I especially appreciated the part where he said, Dominic Ducharme wasn't going to be here next year. So he was transparent about that. I appreciated that. And flat out says, it's not like we have 5 games left into the season where, whatever.
37.
We have 37 games, 36 games left, So there's still a lot of time for Martin to get to know the players, establish, again, not a system, but try to figure something out, and then you go from there. If it doesn't work out with Martin, you don't have a commitment. That's fine.
Yep.
So there's no, it's not a damn if you do, damn if you don't situation here,
Yeah, Marco, what did you think of the specific comments that Kent Hughes made about that they weren't going to be building a team around Dom?
Well, around Dom, just saying, I think because Dom didn't really give these young guys really the chance to really develop, or he was too perhaps connected to his systems. And St. Louis addressed this. He's addressed that the team play was something that was very crucial and that you need to be connected on and off the ice. And I feel like, a large part of this too is because of the injuries and COVID. These players never really got a chance to play together. And this is something that Brendan Gallagher explicitly opened up to, and saying that this was an issue for the team. And I feel like now with the new direction that St. Louis is going to take, he understands obviously the winning culture, like I mentioned before, what it takes. And a fundamental aspect of that is having these players really play together and establish this connection. So when you ask the difference between Dom's team and St. Louis' team, I feel like St. Louis is definitely going to give these guys a lot more freedom to do what they want to. He even said this in one of the questions. He was going on and his experience as a player and how the best players need to make their own reads and they can't be boxed in to any form of pressure system, which I feel like something that Ducharme, because he was coming, he sensed that the team needed to win. He wasn't really looking at it on the development side. And St. Louis has a lot more time. Obviously, there's not as much pressure on him as there was with Ducharme. Mm-hmm. And he just wants to see what works. So I feel like he'll give these guys the opportunity to really flourish, and he will work with these players one-on-one too to make sure that they become the best they could be. But this all comes at the end of the day, a fundamental aspect of team chemistry and just letting them outside the box and do what they need to do in order to succeed.
Yeah, and the specific difference between systems and concepts, right? Not boxing players in and curbing creativity, but having them understand a concept, which has responsibilities, but also lets people read and react situations and unleash their potential. Now, there's no player other than there's a few players on the team that could benefit from this, but there's no one probably more prevalent than Cole Caufield, which I know we addressed last night a little bit. But and Nick, do you want to just comment on what Martin St. Louis about his philosophy of coaching, and then maybe tie it into what this might have as an impact on Cole? Because obviously everyone looks at both the guys' heights and immediately think goal scorers, fast, know how to shoot the puck, bit of a chip on their shoulder. Can he download a lot of his experience to Cole?
100%. He has been proving people wrong all along of his career. He's basically the same size as Cole Caufield, let's be honest. So he said that he's going to be working with them, making a plan. He knows what he's going through. He's been through it many times throughout his career. So I absolutely believe that he's going to be able to help him, understand him, and just guide him. It's guidance that he needs right now. He didn't want to comment if Cole would be heading back to Laval or not, which is fine because he still needs to evaluate everything before he makes these kinds of decisions. But for me, the one thing that stood out from his coaching philosophy and even the comments of Kent Hughes was, we don't need to rebuild a culture. We need to establish a culture, which is what we're lacking this season. What's the culture? I don't see it. There's it just seems like nobody cares. So to see a guy coming in, and you have Jeff Gorton who said flat out, if you were in the room today when he addressed the players, you'd get goosebumps. Well, I got goosebumps throughout his whole press conference because I'm just excited to what he's going to bring to the table. So absolutely a big fan of establishing a culture in Montreal. We had a culture. We lost the culture, and it just needs to come back. We don't need to rebuild it. It's still there. It just needs to resurface, Again, for Cole Caufield, I think it's going to be huge. I'm not expecting it to be huge tonight. Again, it's not going to be a matter of a couple of games. It's going to be a matter of getting to know him, establishing a plan. Like I said, he's going to work with the young kids and work with all of his players individually. So give him the chance, see where it goes in the next couple of weeks. And then if it doesn't work out, maybe he'll evaluate and say, you know what, let's send Cole to the minors, let him get the experience. Trust the process.
Yeah, and touching up on that little culture aspect that you guys mentioned, he said definitely that he wants to really just make these players enjoy playing the game again. He understands that right now it's been a hell of a season in all the negative ways you can imagine, and he understands how mentally draining this could be on all the players. So the culture that he wants to establish among the locker room is one where these players just want to play for one another and want to play because they enjoy the game. So
yeah,
we lost this culture aspect, like you said, and Nick, recently, but I feel like with St. Louis, I have a really good feeling that we'll be able to get this really going back on track and having these players do what they want to do, which at the end of the day is playing the game they love. And touching up on Cole, I mean, what better of a role model would St. Louis would be for him than St. Louis, right? I mean, he's exactly the embodiment of everything that Cole wanted to become, and the size too, and everything. And he said that he's faced no obstacles up to this point until now. And St. Louis is someone who's been hurdling obstacles all his life. His late mother saying he kept on trying to prove people wrong and all this. And right now he understands Cole's got the world in the palm of his hand. He's got all the potential in the future. And it's just about how he deals with hurdling over this obstacle now in his young career. I feel like St. Louis would be a good mentor for him for getting over that lump. And once he does that, I'm sure we'll see Cole play like the way we've seen him play last season and how he's been playing all throughout his life.
I want to touch quickly, sorry, James, on this comment here.
Go ahead, sir, put that up again. Yep.
It's okay. I can't wait to see the lines tonight. Don't be surprised if it's the same lines as it was the other night. He's going to want to see and study everything that's going on and then make changes from there. He's not just going to come in and say, oh, I think this is going to work and try it out. He's going to want to try to change it. So don't be surprised if it's the same lines. It's completely fine if it is. Again, he's going to study them and we'll go from there in the next couple of weeks. So give him a chance to just get settled in, I guess.
Everybody take a breath. It's
it's hard, but it will work.
No. And again, the expectations this season are not lofty. Yeah. We're not going to all of a sudden rip off 37 wins. The team lost 7-1 a couple nights ago. Like, this is the state of the organization. A coach and some tough talk and some energy might lift some spirits. But one of the comments in the press conference was, what could Dom do? The goalies were getting killed every night. No, that stuff's really changing. I thought that was probably the funniest question that I understood. We'll talk about the language thing because we got it. But expectations. What do you guys expect out of this? As what's going to, first of all, endear fans to the fact that he could be the long-term solution, and then obviously organizationally, what does he have to do to endear himself to the players and of those who will remain after the trade deadline? Talk about that in a minute. But the players, how is he going to become the culture? What does he have to do? Is it win games or just players play better? I mean, what's it?
For me, he said it countless times, is to reestablish the fun in hockey.
Yeah.
Simplifying everything and just getting a structure. So if he can establish that for the rest of the season, I don't give a crap if we don't win one single game. I just want to see improvement and the guys be happy to be playing and not making bonehead moves like we've been seeing. So you know what I mean? I wrote it down here exactly what he said. It's freedom. It's being able to figure out what you're doing without the puck. Just little tiny things that we can start adjusting. And I'm not saying completely change, just adjusting is my expectations for Marty. And again, if it doesn't work out, it's not like we have him for 3 or 4 years. We're not stuck in a commitment. If we can sign him for next year, if it works out and give it a try, give him a 1-year contract. He said it. I'm not here because of promises or obligations or anything. I want to be here. Give me a shot. If it works for a year and you want to sign him for an extra year, go year by year if he's up for it, And
Nick, this is a direct quote. I didn't even ask what the contract terms were. I just said yes.
There you go. That says it all, right?
He's not a career coach either, right? Like,
no, he doesn't know what to expect. He said, I've been getting ready for 10 years to do this. I'm not a hockey junkie. I eat hockey. I watch every single team. I'm going to do like I did in my career. I'm going to take little bits and pieces from every team and every coach and apply it to what I'm doing. And there's always room for improvement. So give him a shot. Can't be worse.
No.
I mean, it could be 10-1, but
it can't be.
It could be worse.
Yeah, it can't really be much worse than what we've been used to seeing. And this is such a good spot for St. Louis to be in because he's someone, he said it, who he desires these challenges to take over and to these hurdles to jump. So what bigger challenge to take than a team who's been struggling as bad as we have been this season, dead last? For him, it's more the opportunity to come in and just find what's wrong with the team and fix it. I think the measurement of his success towards the end of the season won't be the amount of wins that the team gets, but it'll be seeing all-time highs, at least for this season, from the players we've been seeing, because I definitely believe he'll give these players the freedom to do more what he believes. Well, first of all, he'll get to know these players personally and see how they could flourish the best. And once he gives these players the freedom to do so, we'll see this, and we'll see. It'll be a measurement more of like each of the individual players increase points and more seeing play guys on certain power play units, penalty kill units, maybe finally seeing Romanov in OT scenarios, giving guys opportunities in different scenarios that they haven't been used to this season and seeing where they go from there. I think he really just wants to experiment with the team and figure out really what it is that they need going forward. And we're not going to string out 37 wins out of our backpack here. And that's not what we expect either. We just expect to see a better environment for all the players and to see them enjoy playing hockey again. It's been the worst of the worst we've seen from the quotes that Anderson has mentioned in Gallagher. Like, you can't get much worse from here. So
yeah,
it's all in St. Louis' hands right now. And I'm super excited to see what he could bring to the team and where the team could go from there. And tonight, I don't know I don't expect a whole lot tonight either. I mean, it's his first game behind the bench, but he's an observer. He'll see where this team's at, where the coaches are at, what they're thinking. And then next few weeks, next few months, we'll fully see what he'll be able to do.
Yep.
I want to touch quickly to expectations. He was asked about assistant coaches and the rest of the bench for the season. So Kent Hughes flat out said it's going to be Martin's decision on whether or not the boys stick with him. But for the end of the season, they are safe. So we know that they're going to stick around. I think a key part here is that Martin played with Luke Richardson in Tampa. So they do have that relationship. And he said he's the type of guy, he's a team guy, Luke Richardson. So I have a feeling he might be sticking around. I absolutely love Luke behind the bench. As for the rest, he played against Trevor and Alex Burrows. So he does still have a relationship with these type of guys, but it's going to give him time to evaluate how they are. And he said, I don't want just guys to say like, yes, coach. Yeah, coach. Okay, whatever. He says, I want to be challenged. I want these guys to defy what I'm saying and try to rearrange things. So it's going to be exciting to see how they're going to perform together. And Martin St. Louis, as we said yesterday, was a special units advisor when he was in Columbus. So could he be helping out Alex Burrows when it comes to the power play? That could be huge as well.
Yeah. There's well, as was told by Kent Hughes, there will be other changes. So whether it's coaching, but there will certainly be personnel changes on the player side. Excuse me. The one thing I loved personally watching this press conference was from the get-go, Chantal Maccabee had control of the room. She set the parameters of what this was going to be. One question per journalist, please. Try to wrap things up fairly late into the proceedings just to get the people back to their day job. All the questions, in my opinion, were answered pretty much within the first 25 to 30 minutes. And even then there was repeated stuff. But when needed, Jeff Gordon came in and spoke. You notice there was no Jeff Molson. And then, I love the playoff with Kent Hughes where he would come in and be more specific and pointed because he's the GM, right? Like, again, the thing about the Deschamps decision where Gordon said, yeah, we could have done a better job, whatever. And he came and said, no, straight up, like this wasn't going to work. Like you can't go on living like this. It's insanity. And, we've got a blueprint. We've got a plan. You got to pivot. You got to move. You got to adapt. We can't tell you that we have it all mapped out. And this is the same message that came from Jeff Gordon at his press conference, which was, you know what, we got to be dynamic. At some point, we do have to set some path here. But that's what I loved about this whole move in this press conference was that there seemed to be a clear respect between the group already, clear line of responsibility and accountability, which is really what we're looking for here, right? And I just really enjoyed that aspect of it. So I know Drew's going to come on in a sec. I just want to touch on his history with the Habs. And I think it's important that on our channel and elsewhere, there was a lot of talk about, is Martin St. Louis French? Well, yes, he is. And then he came out firing and he actually stumbled a bit with some of his
I loved it.
language because they've been in America for the last 22 years where they don't speak a lot of French.
Yeah.
From your perspective, Nick, what did you make of the language thing and just any anecdotal stuff you want to throw in about that? Then we'll talk about his history because I thought that was fascinating.
I absolutely loved it because he started the press conference in English and he was like, oh shit, that's not right. Restarted in French. So he knows what it's like. He knows what to expect. And I loved how he would check with Chantal on, is this appropriate word? Like, what's the word? What's the word? You could just tell how easygoing and nonchalant he is, which is, I think, what we're looking for. And we're not used because we had Dominique Ducharme, who was so careful with his vocabulary and how he would express himself. So I think it's going to be a great shift for the players when it comes to, getting the ball rolling, talking to them and having a relationship with the players as well. It's going to be great for them. But overall, during the presser, I found it absolutely hilarious how he was constantly like, what's the word? That's what it is. And then even Kent Hughes in English, he was like, I don't know the word in French. This is what it is in English. It felt like there was no pressure. He was just being himself, going with the flow,
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think that his French was flawless during the whole time. I mean, I was honestly really surprised considering the amount of time that he spent in the States. And you compared to Hughes. I mean, Hughes' French is good, but obviously it's like West Island French. It's kind of similar to mine. I know what it's like. But no, St. Louis was, even though he was asking Chantal every now and then for a little corrections just to make sure that he got it right, which is funny to see. But no, he was fantastic. I believe that he spoke well. And just the whole press conference was just easygoing. Everybody was on the same page, which was fantastic to see. Completely transparent. So I don't think this press conference could have gone any better. And I believe now that just all us Habs fans were so excited to see what's going to happen in the future because of this. And yeah, I'm absolutely pumped about everything. I cannot wait to see what these guys end up doing. And the closer we get to trade deadline too, we'll have an idea of where these guys want to go towards team building and what kind of players they want to have represent the Habs.
Yeah.
5'8" snipers across the board.
But we have 6'3" Drew Deeks waiting
6
in the
foot
green
three and a
room.
half in my own
6'3"
estimation.
and a half.
All right, come on, Drew. How you doing, buddy? Well, look at that. You dressed up for the conference today. Were you in the press corps?
Wow.
Did you finally get the Habs Tonight press credentials that we've been waiting for? So
yeah, I was in the back. Didn't get a question in, but that's okay. You got 2 ears and 1 mouth, right? So that's all right.
There's a lot to hear. What did you hear today then?
Excuse me. Well, first of all, I just want to say I am not going to miss Dom Ducharme's monotone press conferences anymore.
Yeah.
So that was one of the first things I gathered. But you know what? I had flashbacks of I guess it was the 2014 playoff run when Dale was still there, and Marty broke our hearts when he got that overtime winner. It was in game 5 on Tokarski over the shoulder. It was like one of the best shots I've ever seen in hockey. And I had just memories of that for whatever reason going through my head today. But it was pretty cool just to see how confident he was. It's got to give pretty good vibes across the board to the team and the fans. I think that's the consensus right now for anybody who listened to him talk already.
Yeah.
But just I think it was music to Habs fans' ears. You guys probably already said it about, the systems aspect and how it holds players back, right? So that was a relief to hear. And I don't know, man, it's a breath of fresh air. But I have a question too. Did anybody ask him about Vinny and when he's coming or no?
No. I think the press was adequately briefed ahead of the conference that was a non-starter.
But we do have Vinny who commented on it yesterday and said Martin always wanted to be a coach and he's the most intelligent player on the ice. So he's got his friends' support, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, I went a little crazy in my video.
You sure did. I loved it.
Yeah.
We didn't help matters behind the scenes. We all thought this was happening because.
Well, I mean, it was leaked.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there was momentum. We were kind of rolling with it because it was all happening so quick, right? So
yeah. And then I was going to put a tweet out that Nikolai Habibulin or Johnny Graham was going to be the new goalie coach, and I was going to set the internet on fire. But
well, it's just like that 1-2 punch, like if we would have got both of them yesterday, it would have just been like the Batman and Robin analogy I used, because Marty's a little shorter, but no,
just missing Brad Richards.
Yeah, Brad Richards to complete the trio, maybe. Yeah. But either way, it's definitely as you guys have been saying the last for the whole show here, it's just such a we finally have a sense of direction for the whole franchise at this point. I think. I mean, now we know player personnel has to be picked, but I mean, that Marty's going to figure out. I actually just had a phone call. I just got off the phone with a guy who was saying that Marty and Kent Hughes have a really good insight on character, and they're going to sort of figure out who's going to be sticking around. So I think, you're going to see Marty pull guys like Yoel Armia aside and be like, listen, do you want to be here? Do you want to play here? You're signed for another 3 seasons. Do you want to stay? You need to show me you want to stay. I think that's the kind of conversations he's going to have with the players that we know are underperforming. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't be surprised if starting tonight, I'm not saying the Habs are going to win, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little more wind in their sails. I mean, this is not just any coach. It's Martin St. Louis. He's never coached at this level before, but he has a presence. And Dom Ducharme didn't have the presence that he had. Didn't have over 1,000 games of NHL experience, the winning pedigree. It's the presence, right? It's like that Shea Weber effect. So that effect is going to be behind the bench every single game. Whereas Weber had it out on the ice, Marty will have that behind the bench and in the locker room. And he said it himself that his job is to inspire the guys, and that's one of his best assets. So that's great news.
I think I liked what he said too at the end regarding he's going to need to, it's going to take a little bit of time, but he's going to figure out who in the room has a voice and how they use it. Yep. That's going to be an important key for leadership, especially with, I think it was Kent Hughes who said next year we're going to have a captain. if Shea Weber doesn't return, which, I mean, most likely it's going to happen. So that's going to be important. And like you said, tonight, I'm not expecting a win. I'm just expecting no pressure. There's no pressure to, the
Freedom.
coach is stressed, everybody. Exactly. And he said freedom countless times today. So I think it's going to be pressure off the shoulders. Marty's going to say, go out there, play your game, have fun. There's no pressure. We know Kent Hughes acknowledged it. We are not making the playoffs. We're all aware of that. So have fun, go back to basics, and we'll progress as we go for the next 36 games. That's what I want to see.
Yeah. And I tweeted this out just before I came on with you guys, but to me, like what this solidified him being introduced today, it was a longer press conference too, was like the Montreal Canadiens are back in business. Yeah. Like that's what I got out of Marty St. Louis' press conference today. They're back in business. He means business, but he knows how to have fun. And I think he knows how to balance the two.
Yeah.
I think he knows how to try to get the best out of his players and to make sure they're enjoying themselves. And remembering you're playing the best game on earth with the best fans on earth that are about to return to the building in a couple weeks. The fans will be coming with energy, even though we're beyond losing this season. They're going to return to the building with energy, and it's up to him to remind the guys, this is the Montreal Canadiens, and it's such a good move for this team. So that's all I'll say. I'll leave it on that. But I'm pretty pumped like you guys are. I think the consensus so far is that we expect good things, and I think that's okay to have that expectation right now.
Yeah.
Thanks, Drew.
Marco, you had...
well said.
Oh, yeah, no,
Marco,
I was just going to touch up. Yeah, I was just going to touch up on the leadership part of it, because I feel like this season, and you could kind of sense this on the ice.
Did you?
See, Drew. But yeah, so I was just going to say that this was something that you've been able to see this season, kind of lack of leadership or lack of willingness to want to play among the players. And I feel like bringing St. Louis in, someone who's been a captain himself at the highest level, he understands what this leadership concept is all about. And he wants to hear from the players who will be willing to lead these guys moving forward. So I believe that, in a sense of direction for the team, will be great to have for that. So yeah, that's what, just want to add that little thing on leadership over there. And also just the change in scenery, because Hughes understood that a spark needed to be made on the team. He understood that right now it wouldn't benefit anybody to have the team go down the road that we've been seeing this season. And he understood that a change needed to be made, more so for the players, especially because no one wants to play on a team that's going down this road with no sense of direction, no sense of pride. So that's one of the major things too. I just want to touch up on the change of scenery, the spark that was needed. I definitely believe that Stanley will bring this spark to the team like he did all throughout his career. And this is something that we need more than ever. And I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah. And well said. And this is now sort of the second punch from Gordon and Molson, taking things a little bit unconventional here with the GM and the coaching decision. And I think that's how you win in pro sports, to be honest. In 2022, you gotta find a fresh approach to things. The game moves fast now. You have to innovate. You have to be creative. And that's not just the product on the ice. It's the product in the brain trust that you put into making the decisions at these organizations. So I think it's brilliant. I think the pedigree is there between everyone involved. And I just think there's a lot to be looking forward to. Now, before we wrap, just remind, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. We had reaction video to Dominic Ducharme's firing yesterday, and then we had the rapid reaction to Martin St. Louis' hiring right after we went off the air on the first reaction. And then
8 minutes later, hop back on.
And if you want to listen to it all, it's on a podcast that we have on the Habs Tonight podcast, available on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your audio content. But I wanted to leave on this discussion point, which was bringing it all home. The Montreal Canadiens. This is the team that he grew up watching, even if it was at times just the third period of these games, because that's all they showed at the TV in their little village, with his 13 siblings and his dad putting him in their winter coats to watch in the freezing, weather. What did that mean to you for him to bring it all home? And what does that mean to you as a fan to have someone with that personal connection to the Montreal Canadiens?
I love it. I think it just shows the character that he has, and that for him, this is not just another job. He's been saying it's his dream to be a coach, and to do it for his childhood team. I think it's just a cherry on top of the cake. He knows what's expected of him and what it means to be a Montreal Canadien and to play for the logo on the jersey and not for the name at the back. And Josh Anderson said that this week of we need to start playing for that logo. So I think it's going to blend all well together. I wish him the best of luck, and I truly hope it works out for him because, like I said, what he said today, full green check marks for me. He's got my stamp of approval.
Yep.
I'm pumped for it, and I have no expectations, and I think he's in the same position of let's just see how it goes. We'll go from there. Can't be worse. Could be better. Like it'll
It's
be
only
what
up
it'll
from
be,
here.
right? Exactly.
No, you put a player coach in this situation because the worst that can happen is he rubs off on some of your young stars and they learn something from a Hall of Famer. They weren't going to learn. They weren't going to learn anything from Dom.
The worst that can happen is he puts the jersey on and he freaking jumps on the ice himself.
That's right.
There you go.
There was
And
nothing
probably
for
be the best
Caufield
player
to
on the
learn,
team.
or Suzuki to learn from Dom. And don't feel bad for Dom. Okay, the guy's getting paid $1.7 million for the next couple of years. Who frankly, you know what? That's a decent chunk of money for someone who's that early in his coaching career. He's 47. Like, don't feel bad for the guy. He's doing okay. So
Edmonton's looking for a new coach. I mean,
Dave Tippett, see you later. Which
no,
is
I honestly
crazy. We don't even have time to talk about that.
No,
That's crazy.
I just see Dom Duchamp as maybe heading back as an assistant coach.
Yep.
Building more experience, and I mean, it's a shame it didn't work out. But we wish him the best of luck. We're thankful for everything that he did for us. He did lead us to a Stanley Cup final. And best of luck to Dominic. Thank you for everything. But for now, we're focusing on the changes, the positivity, the Habsitivity, and the fact that we have a new coach behind the bench tonight. And we will have a post-game show for you guys tonight. Myself, Marco, Shane, and whoever else wants to hop on to bring you guys the details as to what happened for Martin St. Louis' first game, if we saw any changes, and just to chit-chat. So join us for that tonight after the final buzzer.
Don't skip leg day, right, Marco? You're an athlete.
Skip leg day.
Yeah. It's crucial. You can't leg day. It's the most important of them all. Well, I come from obviously a soccer background where it's very, very important. Obviously, hockey too. It's all about the legs. It's the engine in the tank. I mean, you can't. No other way to put it.
James, before we wrap, we do have a comment from our very own Dutch Gretzky that is very happy to see Martin St. Louis being added to the Montreal Canadiens. It's new blood. It's not a rotating recycle bin that we've been doing for the past few years. So we have Dale on board. That's what matters here. He is busy right now crunching games and getting ready for playoffs, so he couldn't be on today, but says hi to everybody. Can't wait to be back on, but he's on board for Marty too. That's what's important.
For sure.
Yeah. That's encouraging. Sorry, Marco.
Just to touch up on that quote a little bit. When new blood brings new ideas and new love for the game, and I'm sure I'm with Dale on this one. I couldn't agree more with the signing of St. Louis as the interim head coach, and it's all up from here. And we know that he has a lot of history, obviously being from Montreal. He understands how important it is for fans, for the culture. And he's come from an era where you see the Habs win so much, and his father as well. There's a touching story that they had there in the press conference about him watching like just through the windows of TV stores and all this. He understands what it means to the fans to win and what it is to go for the CH. And I believe that this passion is him better than anybody. He'll understand what it means to the fans to want to win, and he'll do his best, I'm sure, to have the organization do exactly that and to inspire his players as well to want to win for the logo on the front, not the name on the back.
Yeah.
Boom. All right. Well, with that, we'll leave you with the game tonight. Friends and fans, give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed today's show, and really appreciate you watching, commenting, interacting. Subscribe. We're all in this together. Habsitivity. Check us out on the merch store, habstonight.net, if you want to start rocking some Habs Tonight gear. It's nice to wear. Frankly, we're looking forward to tonight's game and seeing what happens with some new energy. I expect we won't get blown out by 7-1, but if it does happen again, let's just, sorry, Anek, I'm talking too much now.
It is.
Uh,
No
up,
Obi tonight,
James.
so there's hope.
Shut
right.
up, James, and thank you, everybody.
That's right. You hit
We'll
the
on that.
exit us out of the building here, Nick. Thanks so much.
Cheers, guys.